Hello, my marvellous sausages. Have you noticed how the beginning of the Edge of Fate, where are we now? August 13th, so it's been roughly about a month, I think, since it's come out, hasn't it? Or something like that? Yes. Well, anyway, have you noticed how it's probably, well, as a content creator, hate that title, but there you go, is the most negative I have ever seen it, right? When it started, I was snowed under by all the negative comments, which in fact for the first time ever I started making videos about comments and about the sentiment around the game and stuff like that, and actually the videos started doing really well, which is why I'm making more of them. But I'm still doing my gameplay stuff and my streaming. However, I was shocked by this. Even I don't think Lightfall was as bad. I think Lightfall was a huge shock to people because they were kind of expecting an Infinity War. And they didn't get it, really, did they? Because nobody particularly enjoyed the campaign. A lot of characters sort of fell flat. And there was a lot of good stuff in it as well, with Strand and things. But generally, that was pretty negatively received. Then, Edge of Fate was so negatively received, I couldn't believe it. And I thought, well, this could well be the end of it. And when I looked at the launch numbers, now I can only use Steam charts to look at launch numbers because the consoles don't put out any numbers of how many people are playing their games. So there's no way you can find out how many people are playing on console. All we know is that more people play on console than they do on PC, which is fair enough. But you can look at the general trends on Steam charts, and you can sort of apply them broadly, I suppose, to what people will be doing on consoles, because the numbers are still pretty big. So you can see a pattern of behaviour more than anything else. The numbers may not be entirely accurate, because you've got Xbox, you've got PlayStation, and all that stuff to take into consideration. But it's a good indicator of general consensus of feeling about a game at any given time. Now, if we have a look at the Edge of Fate launch numbers, we've got 98,000 there for the day one launch, and then we've got another peak there of 108,000. That's when the raid launches. Historically speaking, this isn't great. If I open it up to a massive scale, you can see June, which was when Final Shape launched, 314,000. That's massive. Going back to 2023, that's Lightfall, 316,000. So, just as an indicator, you can see that it is significantly lower. But there is one difference that I've kind of noticed, and Paul Tassi stuck out a tweet for this, which has brought it to my attention. It is on the screen now, look. Well, anyway, what's happening is that it's not dropping off as hard as it normally does. After Final Shape, look, it dropped off hard, the big hard one. But if we go and have a little look here, I have to zoom in, and I know it's a different scale. However, there's the run-up with Heresy, look, pretty flatlining, bang, Edge of Fate, and then we are a month later now, and the drop-off is not steep. We had a mild drop-off there, and it's continuing, look, at a higher level. In general, 74,000, okay, 59, 52, 60,000. So, this, with a massive amount of negative sentiment that came out, I thought it would pile right down into the doldrums, and it hasn't. Why is this, then? Final Shape had all the praise in the world, and deservedly so. But maybe because it was such an end to it all that people just played the actual content and the story, and then you had that shot of us all sitting at the end looking at the Traveller, and then thought, right, that's it, I finished Destiny 2 and buggered off. I think that is a big contributing factor, and I also think Edge of Fate is a brand new start, and it was a really smooth start technically, although, I mean, technically in regard to crashes and stuff. So people were able to get on and to play. That was probably because they only had 1/3 of what they normally have. But the numbers afterwards still are very, well, they're really good compared to what it has been. And I think what we've got here is a basis for it to build. And one of the biggest complaints people seem to have was that, oh my god, I've got to run the same thing again and again and again. I hate the runs. I hate this. We all felt that. No, the power grind is too big. It's stupid. I'm not playing it anymore. I can't stand blah, 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 blah. And yet people are still playing it. In fact, they're playing it more now than they have done in nearly a year. So what does that say about us as players? It's really weird. It's almost like we really enjoy the grind. Because Destiny 2 is about the grind. And I think one of the problems it's had is it's taken a lot of stuff away over the years. And I think that's a right bugbear, because when you pay for something, you want to keep it. Fair enough. I agree with that. However, they've reshaped the basis of it now, and I really hope that they're going to maintain the build, okay? Because what I was totally surprised about I didn't like Solstice. I've kind of mentioned this in another video before. I never particularly I quite like Festival of the Lost, but I go off the boil very quick. But with Solstice this year, it's kept everyone playing. Even, in fact, has created one of the first Destiny memes we've had in ages, where we're going down the Caldera mines to mine and grind for weapons. And this is all solely related to Solstice, a free event. So something fundamentally has changed, which is making us all moan and yet continue to play. I know there's been a big drop-off, but it's stable. It seems stable for the last couple of months. I know it's not the world's biggest numbers. I know Warframe is doing better if I'm going to make a direct comparison, but it's not as big a gap as it has been, historically speaking. Particularly over the last year, I was getting a bit more worried and a bit more worried. So why do we like this grind so much? Why do we like to be kicked in the metaphorical backside and still keep playing? Clean answers only, please. Now, the trick they've got to pull off. They've got a basis here now. The trick they need to pull off is to maintain this and to boost the numbers up as they're going, so it kind of plateaus at a higher level and then boosts and plateaus. We don't want these huge drops. And I think being conducive to that is like the Final Shape was. It was conducive because it went, look, it's the end, and everyone finished it and went, oh, it's the end, right, ta-da. It was advertised at the end. It was an advertised finishing point. So people naturally finished and went away. And that's completely understandable. But Edge of Fate is starting something new and is trying to create something that's ongoing. And what it seems to be creating is a grind that people are actually coming back for all the time. Now, I've got a roadmap here of what we're going to expect, right? And I think as long as they can keep the cadence and the rhythm right, they're going to do it. Because the story beats were once a week, but they weren't enough to keep everybody going. But these, what they've got here, could well do. So what have we got here? We're looking at Season Reclamation. I don't know how many of you knew the season had a name, but it does. It's Season Reclamation. This is running basically up until, well, whenever Renegades drops, which is December the 2nd. So we've got a rewards pass, and then seasons and major updates available to all players. And then within the expansion, we had new stories, new locations, new missions, new weapons, new gear, new raid, and new dungeon. That's coming in Renegades. And then, pretty quickly now, we've got Ash and Iron coming out on September the 9th. So what we've had is, we had Kepler, Arms Week for a week, 2 weeks of Solstice. What are we going to have next? We're probably going to go and have Heavy Metal. And then that's going to run us into Ash and Iron, unless they got something else coming up as well. And if they can maintain the tier grind, which is what people are grinding for, the tier 5s. I've had tier 5 drops now because of Solstice. It's really making me want to play. And then Ash and Iron, I really hope, starts dropping in more stuff into the Portal playlist, which will keep people playing even more. But that's September the 9th. Now, we've got no other story stuff happening, or anything else, much else happening, if you look at this Ash and Iron, until December the 2nd. So this is really going to prove now, this huge gap between September the 9th and December the 2nd is going to prove if they can do it. If they can't do it, it's not going to go very well. We've got, in the major update, new and reprised activities. Great, we know we've got a new activity, but reprised, I don't know what we got coming there. New sandbox meta, new events. We know so far all we're going to have will be Festival of the Lost, but we should have new events in there. New modifiers and challenges, new gear and artifact mods. And I think what's sustaining this, right, is the power grind to whatever you want to get to, 450, and then using these events to boost that power grind as it's going. Because if you've been playing this now and you're already at level 450, can you tell me, are you still playing? Or have you stopped? Because you've probably got a shed load of tier 5s by now. You've probably got every version of the weapon that you particularly want. Have you stopped playing? And if you have stopped playing, is it because you reached 450? Because that means the impetus gets taken away, or at least that's my perception of it. I'm playing to grind to make number go bigger, which I was moaning about a month ago, but it's actually a nice, meaningful grind now because the weapons are cool. But what you want to be able to do now is take those weapons and use them in newer activities. And if they can keep that going through to Renegades, because it's 2 months, they're on to an absolute winner here. And then they're going to bring in Star Wars 2. Did it again. Destiny 2 Renegades, which is going to have all the Star Wars fans salivating, which is a huge number of people. If you hate Star Wars or you love Star Wars, that doesn't negate the fact that lots of people will be interested. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the story as well, and if they're going to integrate any Star Wars elements into it. I doubt it very much. That would be quite silly, unless we're having some kind of dimensional thing where Lodi's, you know, multiple timeline season, what do you call them, the 9 helps us go into the Star Wars universe. I don't know what the hell's going to happen, go on there. If they pull it off, this will be the big resuscitation and get people to come back in. Because then we've got the major update then, which is March the 3rd, and that's Shadow and Order. Have no idea about that at all. So, that's where we're at. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, briefly, is Destiny Rising. Now, I don't play games on mobiles. If I'm going to play this, I'm going to play it on the PC using, like, an emulator kind of thing, which is absolutely fine. But Destiny Rising had 10 million pre-registrations or something. That's a lot. That is a lot. Now, I know it's a mobile game, and mobile games do have huge numbers, but I'm sure they have huge fall-offs as well. And it's probably not going to have the substance of Destiny 2. But perhaps it will. I don't know. Well, anyway, it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. And because I can play it on the PC, I'm going to have a go of it as well. Definitely. But what do you think about that and the number of registrations? It does show that there's a hell of a lot of interest in Destiny as like an IP or a universe, isn't there? Because of that amount of people looking to play it. And I think I'm definitely going to have a go of it, but I'm just wondering if Destiny 2 took some of the elements from that, like Sparrow Racing and all that kind of stuff, because I do think that's the model that they are introducing here. And I think as things go on, they're going to introduce these smaller events. It's going to be more piecemeal, not one big overarching story as the driving force. There'll be a story through it, but it just won't be the driving force. It'll be all these smaller bits that actually will probably do a much better job of maintaining interest than one big story that you finish and then people stop playing the game. It's going to attract a different kind of player, basically, and that's what they're trying to do. And with the Destiny Rising numbers, or at least the pre-registration numbers, nobody's played it yet. We don't really know what it's like. I haven't played it. I haven't got a clue. But I do like the look of it, and I do like the Destiny Universe stuff, and I do like the look of the small, like the Sparrow Racing, fishing. I mean, we've had it all. We've had it all in Destiny, and it's all gone. And people would love that to come back. Because you can see that kind of small event reflected in loads of games. Whether you play the Monster Hunter games, for example, you've got all these little mini things that you can do. You can go fishing or you can do whatever. People like that in these kinds of games. And I do think that they're going to be bringing it all in. Good God, I'm going on talking nonsense here. As normal, I want to know what you reckon. Do you, honest to God, think it's dead? Or do you, honest to God, think that it's got a chance? I think it's got a heartbeat now. And for me, the numbers do kind of prove it. But the numbers only stay up as long as the enticement stays up. So we've got to see what will happen, of course. But I do think they're on the right trajectory to start building back up again. There we are, a bit of food for thought for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you're interested, don't forget I stream every Sunday, Wednesday and Friday. I'll be doing Destiny again tonight if you want to pop along and have a little look at a Chinwag. You, of course, will be very welcome. And I also stream over on Twitch as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Sausage, hurt.